moving on from the white gaze and white supremacy in media, that's what this whole thing was supposed to be about really quick. And it's something that I've been feeling like is socially also happening and been happening. And what's worth happening is worth happening and still happening, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like one thing that's standing out to me about this whole thing, that when we're considering like the Gap ad, I'm just thinking about the fact that a global girl group's existing or like coming into existence and prominence at a time that there are DEI cutbacks and rollbacks and folks saying that with their actions that they don't honor you at this place in time in certain institutions with certain legislation. And while one thing I've been thinking about, like, because I had a conversation with a friend about like how do we fight back, how do we like address this, and part of me is just like I sit back and I'm like, what are we fighting for? What are we trying to address here actually and critically, and like thinking about that, especially when you have things like institutional neutrality, right? Like where institutions are like, we need to be apolitical or politically neutral, and there's no neutrality for real. Like, if you like, I need you to think about it. Open a book, crack open a book, ask chat, because if you're neutral in times of oppression, you've chosen the side of the oppressor. And it's just like, if people are saying that they're oppressed, okay, you get it. I'm moving on. But I'm thinking about all that and how I feel like we're constantly fed that we need to be seen or be valued or be deemed worthy. And it's just like, what if we just do that and put that on ourselves? And I really got that most strongly from my choreographer recently. We were at dance practice last night, and he was talking about how he hopped on a podcast and they talked about kind of redoing the creation story, because often we're positioning ourselves and upholding things from the white gaze, and especially specifically he was talking about when we talk about DEI, and we're always trying to pay attention to the cultivation of a worthiness and value that other people have expressed that they don't see in us, and we don't have to chase that. We've never had to chase that. It shows itself. And he was in the context of a podcast that I'm not going to get into the context of, but he was applying it to dance because we were talking about the theme for the semester, and a lot of times we rotated the theme around like, can you see me, can you see this? And yeah, we really don't have to. I think about like the impact that that ad has made on classes, on people creating and things like that, and it's just like, it's made the impact that it's made. And when I said like what's worthy has been worthy the whole time and it's still happening and it's been happening, I mean that like regardless of the things that get defunded or people pulling their support, because it reminds me of like how when Black communities would be thriving or living or like settling in different places around the US, and that's around the world, I've seen there's a divestment from that place. We want to be separate from you. Like the US was never made in mind with equality in mind for Black people. I think about that too. We were commodified, okay? So it was kind of like, I think that nothing is wasted whether effort moves toward more legislation or not, to reinstate that legislation, or even these programs that help people of many different communities and platforms. But I also know for a fact that we don't need to reinvent systems or structures that didn't work for everyone. There's more at our disposal when it comes to creativity and reimagining things. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, like, nothing's wasted, nothing's truly degraded or destroyed. You should know that. Isn't that a law in physics? Just people see and value things even if you don't see them seeing and valuing it in real time. And you've been worth it and are worth it this whole time. So, that's the point I wanted to make and get at. To just remind you, but also remind myself, like, let's be where we're honored, and whether that's relationship wise, making sure that's reciprocated, like, it's not just you're giving and nothing's being brought to you. I think about that with these institutions, like, some of them clearly have just been using and using and using us and our creativity and the gifts that we've been blessed with. And I'm just like, imagine if we pour back into ourselves, you won't know what to do with it, and it'll show up. And something as funny, not funny, but kind of as mundane as an, like, mundane, but also an experience, like an ad for jeans. The contrast will be stark, and I mean, just see it for yourself. Peace.